YouTube, and welcome to my modelling channel. This is Captain Cars, and I'm new back to the modelling hobby after quite a few years away. I'm in a small house with a family, so I don't have much space for huge workbenches and all that kind of stuff, so I have a very compact workspace, and the important thing with the hobby is to have lots of fun. Okay, in this series of video we're going to be looking at some products, we're going to be doing some reviews, looking at some builds, looking at some completed builds, some work in progress, and also having a look at some techniques. We'll be having a look at products ranging from full kit reviews to smaller items, such as this rather excellent paint set which Vallejo have released, which I've just received for weathering purposes. We're going to be looking at some weathering tips and tricks, and how to make your models look a lot better. We'll also be looking at some work in progress. For example, we've got a 1/48 scale B26 Mitchell, which is in progress here. As you'll find out with aircraft, 1/48 is very much my favourite scale, large enough for presence, and it gives detail plenty of room to shine through. Okay, so paint wise, I'm a big fan of using airbrush, and as I say, I'm not exclusively with Vallejo paints, although I have to say their Model Air paints are excellent. I do also use, of course, the Tamiya paints. I've got plenty of the Umbrol acrylics that come with the Airfix packs. These are very good for brush paintings. A little bit of work to get them to flow nicely through the airbrush, but you know, they're not too bad. So in my little toolbox here I have a bit of everything. It's where I keep my tools and stuff. It's very compact and it can all be lifted and put away very easily. So let's start by having a look at some of upcoming things that we've got in the near future, which I'm going to be working on. Okay, obviously we've got the 1/48 Mitchell, which is very much a work in progress. This is an older Revell kit which I'm working on. Detail wise, it's not that great on detail, and I've been working quite hard to have a look at putting in a few extra panel lines and riveters. We have, of course, the panel line engraving tool here. This is by Trumpeter. Trumpeter makes an excellent tool, so I've been using this for screwing panel lines, and I want to have a go at the Trumpeter riveter as well, just to get some extra details in there. This again is a very nice tool, and I'm thinking just to get the subtle detail, I'm going to wait till I've put some paint on the model before we have a look at it. But in the meantime, what we're going to have a look at today is the brand new Heinkel He111 in 1/48 scale from ICM, and here it is. Quite a big box, and it's got very nice box art. Now, ICM kits do often get reboxed by Revell, and their Junkers 88A4, the Revell 1/48 scale model, is actually an ICM kit. I have actually done that kit, and it is actually one of my favourite kits so far. It went together beautifully. It's a really nice kit, excellent detail, really good fit, good quality plastic. So I've got high hopes for this ICM Heinkel He111. Now, ICM do fantastic boxes. Look at this. This is great. It has this, once you take the lid off, you still have this secondary folding lid, which I think is excellent. Really good for keeping things safe while your model is a work in progress. Okay, so let me just lose this for a moment, and we'll have a look at some of the paperwork that comes with the model. ICM, of course, do a nice full colour instructions manual. Well, I say full colour, it's usually two colours, and there is a bit of red. Obviously, colour on the variation sheets, giving you the colour options that you can do here. I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4 variation options for this particular 111, but we're looking at pretty much standard Luftwaffe colours the green black, the dark green, and that light grey that they use on the underside. Variations on that. Of course, if you want to colour it up a bit, this Russia April 43, I would imagine that's part of Barbarossa, with the yellow flashes, KG27. So you've got the yellow flashes and the red spinners, if for those of you that like a little bit of extra colour. A few technical specifications about the aircraft itself on the front, and some blurb in Russian. I presume it's Russian. It's all Greek to me, isn't it? Okay, and some colour call-outs for Revell and Tamiya paints. As I say, I like to use the Vallejo paints, but there are plenty of apps out there and plenty of opportunities to figure out which Vallejo colour that you need. Or if you're a fan of Humbrol, you can use the Humbrol as well. Sprue maps, again very straightforward, and the instructions, CAD instructions, very nicely laid out. Lots of detail in the instructions. Let me see if I can show you here. You can see here they're excellently drawn, nice red arrows, and everything is highly detailed, so you can see exactly what is supposed to go where. Now this aircraft build starts with the centre section and the undercarriage wheel wells, and there's a bit of work in centre section detail areas, the gun turrets, and then you move on to installing the cockpits onto the front of the centre section, and then it's a little while away into the build. You see, if we look down here, we're at step 37, where we're marrying this centre section into one of the fuselage halves. And there we go, step 38, the other fuselage half goes on. Then we're looking at wings, we're looking at rudders, a few more centre section pieces, the roof, then we're on to bomb racks, then the wings. Now this should be nice and sturdy because we have this lovely boxy centre section that the wings fit onto, so we're looking at a very sturdy build, and again hopefully we're going to have good fitting here. I've had good fitting on other ICM kits, so looking forward to that going together quite nicely. We have very highly detailed engines, and I will have to have a look at whether we can have those engines on show. Always nice to have a panel or two open to show some engine detail going on. But if we look at step 87 here, you know, I don't think it's going to be too much trouble to have one of those engines on show if you like building your dioramas. Some of the nacelle panels open, maybe an engineer having a bit of a tinker. Yep, then the rest of the wings go on, and then we're looking at, yeah, some of these engine panels. Yeah, I think having panels open with engines on display is going to be pretty straightforward. I'm waiting for some aftermarket cockpit masks before I get going on this one. There's a lot of glazing obviously on the 111, and I can do freehand canopy mask, but I do like to have an aftermarket set which I can use. Okay, undercarriage goes on, propellers and a few other bits and pieces. So we are looking at 116 steps all in all to complete the build, and then, as I said, 4 options. So this looks like a very highly detailed build. So we can have a look at a couple of other things here. We have a very nice decal sheet. Okay, needless to say, as is so often the case, no swastikas included in the kit. If you want to put swastikas on, they're pretty easy to model, and also there are some kits out there that do come with the swastikas, so you may have 1 or 2 in your stash. I know certainly Eduard, for example, their kits, which are fantastic, their German kits, usually come with a a few swastikas in. So with my ICM Junkers 88, I had swastikas left over from an Edward Messerschmitt 110 in the same scale, so that was very straightforward. These decals look very nice. There is one tiny imperfection on the print on this cross here. I mean, you wouldn't be able to see it. I mean, it really is ridiculously small, but they're in good register. The colours are nice and vibrant, and the detail on the small sections here, the small decals here, the detail is fantastic, really good. You can read everything very clearly, and so these are very nice. So let's have a look in the box. We'll get the box out for you. Okay, right, well, I actually have got some of the sprues out of the bags for us to have a look at. So let's start with this sprue here, which, as you can see, has got the fuselage pieces on it. Now, detail-wise, this looks really, really good. There are some lovely recessed panel lines that look ever so slightly over scale. Which I actually like, because once you've completed the paint, you've still got enough of the panel line detail left to take a wash and some weathering. And also, I think with this scale, having slightly overscale panel lines really does help the model look very nice. I'm a big fan of that. So let's have a look-see here, just to give you an indication of size. Okay, I have my 12-inch ruler here. So looking at the fuselage, we're looking at 12 inches from end to end, but that of course is not including the nice greenhouse canopy on the front, so we're probably looking at about 13.5 inches model length. The detail on the outside is fantastic. The plastic itself is very crisp, very hard, not translucent, and inside some very nice panel line detail. I can't see too much in the way of ejector pin markings, and I know these are a bit of a bugbear for some people. Personally, as long as the manufacturer has put the ejector pin markings in the right place where they won't be seen, I'm not that bothered by them. It's only when they're in a place where you know they're going to be seen, then it's probably worth getting into them. So good detail on the inside and out for the fuselage. Some nice radio detail here. We've got some nice interior detail. I think these are wheel wells, and we've got, you know, even the inside of the bomb bays, which you wouldn't normally see, very well modelled. Okay, let's have a look at this sprue here with some wing pieces on it. Okay, so if I get my ruler up here, okay, we are looking at 8.5 inches on the wingspan. Actually, from, if I look at the underside of this one, this is more like 8.75 inches. That is 22.5 centimeters for those of you in Europe. Yeah. Okay, so you can double that, add the thickness of the fuselage, and we are looking at quite a substantial wingspan. I think we are looking at a big model. A nice big model. Now, looking at these wing sections here, again, excellent recessed panel lines, and looking at the upper surface of the wing, we can see lots of very nice detail for inspection hatches, fuel filler caps. One thing I do like, which is not present on this model though, is adjustable flaps. The flaps are in the up position. I'm sure a better modeller than I would be able to adjust those flaps to have them posable. Ailerons, however, are posable, rudder and elevator posable too. And again, looking at the horizontal stabilizer tailplane, the surface detail is excellent. It's going to take a really nice wash, very nicely laid to show the detail. And again, lovely panels on the wings here. Let's see if we can get you in nice and close. Lovely panels on the wings, so you will really be able to go to town with some pre-shading, and you know, some weather, sun bleaching with the airbrush, a little bit of post shading, and of course a bit of wash and weathering. So that looks very nice. Several other sprues that come with the aircraft, full of detailed pieces which I won't bore you with too much. Suffice to say that the level of detail is outstanding. We have these ones still bagged up. These two sprues, the same. Propellers, engine parts, wheels, bombs. Very, very high quality mouldings. It looks super crisp. And looking at some of the smaller parts here, one would be forgiven for thinking they were resin in the initial impression that they give. The quality of detail is very good. I haven't seen any flash at all on any of the sprues, and I cannot tell you that the level of, how the level of detail here is just outstanding. Okay, so the last sprue bag, here we have the clear canopy parts, which are good, but I think they're not as good as some other manufacturers. They look good enough, pretty decent, although they just look a little bit hazy. They look nice and square. The detailing is good. Masking is not going to be a problem at all. I'll get back to you on this one and let you know how we get on with them. But yeah, look, they're good enough. It's just there are a couple of areas where they look like they are a little hazy. And of course, the Heinkel He111 is all about the nose glazing. So let me take this out of the bag for you. It's all about the nose glazing. Okay, and this is going to be pretty tough to model. The main nose greenhouse is in 3 parts. Then we have the machine gun cupola on the front. The upper turret gunners glazing here looks very crisp. It's just there looks like a little bit of distortion on the nose glazing. But anyway, we'll see with that. On the whole though, I think it's a fantastic kit. The mouldings look really good. The level of detail is fantastic, and I can't wait to get on with it. Of course, I'll be posting some picture upgrades as we go along, and yeah, hopefully you'll be inspired to get one too. Okay, well, in the meantime, I'm going to sign off, and I'll look forward to talking some more to you about some of the excellent products. All right, so see you again soon. Bye-bye.